I'm going to invite Pablo and a panel, which we have, Christophe Barnouin, Ryan Gellert, and Giulia Detomati to come on stage and we have a panel here to discuss about what is really the bee economy, more than just in the post-it notes that we had last night, but let's discuss it and what it means for us. So thank you.
Fantastic. Hello everyone, how are you? Good morning. I'm really excited to be here. We have an amazing panel. It's very diverse. I won't introduce them because I hate when panelists do that, so I'll let them introduce themselves. And in the spirit of what we're doing today, we're going to make it a little bit fun. We don't have to take ourselves too seriously. So I'll ask you to say your name, what was your favorite toy growing up, and why are you here? So to give you some time to think about your favorite toy, I'll start, and then we go down the line, okay? So my name is Pablo Esteves. I'm from Mexico City. I live in Madrid. My favorite toy, dinosaurs. Loved dinosaurs growing up. I grew up when Jurassic Park, the first movie, was coming out, so you can gauge my age. And I wanted to be a paleontologist. Now I'm not a paleontologist, and why am I here? In 2011, I had the opportunity and the privilege and the good luck to go to South Africa for 6 months to work on a pro bono internship with a social enterprise in one of the poorest areas of Johannesburg, or the least developed areas of Johannesburg. And for me, that was an eye-opening moment. I decided that I wanted to use all my professional background and experience to serve others. And after my MBA, I had the chance to start this with some of my MBA peers and decided that we wanted to help good people become better people and help good teams be better teams and help good organizations do more. And now we're trying to figure out how we do it at scale, so that you don't have to fly thousands of kilometers to be inspired and find meaning and deliver positive impact in your communities. You know, that's why I'm here. Christophe?
Hello, I'm Christophe. I'm the CEO of Wessanen, which for any Dutch company you might know. For the others, we try to do organic food and fair trade food and vegetarian food around Europe. When I was young, I think my favorite toy was my swimming goggles. Okay, because I wanted to be a swimmer, so I said, can I do that as a job? And there are two limitations. There's no job as a swimmer, and I was very slow was my second limitation. So I turned for a different job. And I've been brought up in a business with always a dilemma, which was I had some quite activist idea on the ecology, even more, and then I wanted to be a boss of something. So so that contradiction was in me intrinsically. So is there a way to combine economic performance and decent purpose? And in 12 years ago, I entered Wessanen, and 4 years ago, I had been offered the opportunity to lead the business, and giving me the opportunity to put that in practice, which means size doesn't matter as a company, is what you do that matters. So we, with the team here, we have chosen to only do what has a purpose for us in trying to help people connecting with nature in their food habits by organic, for instance. So that's basically who I am and what I do now.
Is it on?
It works?
Yeah.
Yes. Hi, I'm Giulia Detomati. I'm the CEO of InventoLab. This is a B Corp, an education company that is focusing on entrepreneurship and sustainability. And we especially teach our high school students how to become change makers of the future. So about my favorite toy, I have different. I am thinking about Lego. And I like to make things happen. Like we saw in the video, I like to do things and to teach people how it's possible by learning by doing, make projects, not theoretical, but do concrete projects. And so I'm here to share my story and also, first of all, the story of our students. We did a lot of projects, especially on the circular economy, and so I like to share this idea from young generation.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Gellert, and I'm the general manager for Patagonia. Patagonia is a US company, and I look after the business across Europe, Middle East, and Africa, based here in Amsterdam. My favorite toy growing up was this rubber doll thing called Stretch Armstrong, where you could pull the arms. You're supposed to be able to pull the arms on the commercial, it looked like, kind of from one block to another, but in reality, I think it was the first day I got it, my brother and I overstretched it a little bit, and that was the end of Stretch Armstrong. And I'm here today, I guess for the same reasons that I work at Patagonia, which is, I'm very passionate about spending time in the outdoors, and I've been very fortunate to climb and to backcountry snowboard and travel in some pretty wild places, and it's very difficult to do that and not develop a deep understanding of the impact that we're all having on the planet, and so that's really my motivation, and I think it's quite aligned with Patagonia's.
Thank you. I think it's working now, no? Okay. Yeah. All right. So for the next 5 hours, we're gonna have a rambling chat. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of room to cover, so get comfortable. Not 5 hours. So I can see that we want to inspire others. Today I want the room to leave also inspired and take action. And so why don't we start saying, what is the role of business in society? Why the B Corps are trailblazers? How they're inspiring? How they're gonna get the momentum going and keep that movement on? If you want to start maybe with what Patagonia is doing in Europe and around the world.
Sure. Patagonia, for those that are not familiar with us, we're an American clothing company. We were California's first B Corp, I think it was 7 years ago. And our mission statement is to build the best product, to minimize our footprint on the planet, and to use our business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. That's why we exist. I was talking to Yvonne Chenard, who is the founder and still the owner of the business, just probably 6 weeks ago in Ventura. Excuse me, as we were launching a film, we were screening a film for all of our global teams who had come together for a sales meeting, and it was the first time Yvonne had seen the film. And I thought, in a more traditional company, Yvonne would say, God, I'm really blown away by the work you're doing, it's fantastic, and keep it up. And Yvonne being Yvonne and constantly thinking out into the future and never really being satisfied that we're doing enough, he pulled me aside before we screened the film and he said, Ryan, you need to understand that the #1 job of your sales guys is not selling clothing. And I thought, holy shit, that's why I hired him. And he said, no, the #1 job of your sales guys is to save the planet. And the way that we do that is by selling clothing. And I share that with you because I think everything we do really does at Patagonia go back to this mission statement. We work hard and we work consistently to try to drive positive impact in the planet. The other thing I'll say quickly is we're often held up as kind of a benchmark for a sustainable business, and I always feel it's really important to acknowledge we're not a sustainable business. We take more from the planet than it's able to regenerate. If anything, we're trying to lead and examine life, and perhaps we're a responsible business, but we still are on the journey towards becoming a really sustainable business.
Giulia, you also mentioned, in similar style to Ryan, your job is to inspire the next generation of leaders and save the world through their work. So how do you do that at InventoLab? What is the role that InventoLab is playing?
Since 2014, InventoLab has been working with more than 5,000 students on this topic. So we want to connect people, students, with companies with a green and social impact, such as B Corp. We want to inspire them, and we also want to help them to create real startups with B Corp value. So it's since 2014 that we are doing this, and we help students to create more than 120 projects. And the last summer summit, it's nice to be here because during the past summer summit in Cascais, we launched of the B Corps, we launched this idea to create and found the first B Corp school. And after a few months, this dream became reality, because during this year we launched the project and we involved more than 500 students, and we connect these young students with B Corp mentor. So we train the teachers, we train the mentors, and then we help students also by using a digital platform to create B Corp startup that embed sustainability right from the start. So this was our aims, to help them to analyze the problem, the issues of their areas from an environmental and social point of view, and then help them to find a practical solution and business solution. This project is so beautiful, and students did a project that were similar to this. So this is what we are doing.
And one of the one of the things that I was talking with Christophe earlier this morning was that this panel in particular is very interesting in its diversity of organization size and location. So we have big companies like Patagonia that they sell products, right? But they sell products to save the planet. We have smaller organizations like Giulia and Emzingo. It's 10 people outfits that provide a service. And then we have Wessanen, that is a big company with several brands, and the subsidiaries are the B Corps, not necessarily Wessanen. Christophe, what is the role that Wessanen is playing as a business and leading this movement?
We are looking from a few years now at, would there be a recognition for all the activities that we were doing with our brands and our product and all the initiative of the company in sustainability. So because the choice we made is not to use sustainability, let's say, as I create negative impact on the week and I do B Corp on the weekend, but it's more starting to do good from the start. So no chemicals in food. The biggest amount of fair trade product that we can. Vegetal protein instead of animal protein. So that was the big choice. And then 3 years ago when I was in Los Angeles, I said, oh, but B Corp can be that label that recognizes the effort that all the team has been doing, from the product that we make to the initiative that we take to the green energy that we use in the company, and to recognize that we produce a positive impact. So that's what we are trying to do now.
How do you keep that spirit in such a large organization? And I would like also to hear from Ryan, like, these companies have more than 10 employees, so how do you keep that going and people motivated?
We are a team of 1,200 people across Europe. I don't tell them, they most of the time tell me. So Christophe, yes, it's nice that you do the quarterly cash flow, etc. But there's one more initiative we can do. We could improve the nutritional profile of our product. We could remove plastic. We can support, like we did 2 weeks ago, a team of the Wessanen Benelux did exactly that, fishing in the Amsterdam Canal, helping the Plastic Whale initiative. So all the initiatives come from within, from the teams, and they frankly, they run faster than I am, and I'm very pleased with that.
Brian?
I think it starts in our case with the founder and ownership. I think the Chenards are very, very committed to this, and I think that's only increased with time. But I think one of the things that Yvonne decided very early on, and I think it was a really brilliant strategy for Patagonia, and I'd consider other companies to think about this, is we don't have a CSR department. And globally, we don't have one in Europe, we don't have one globally. We have a very small team of employees whose full-time job is to work on environmental issues, whether it's grant giving or what it may be. But instead, we've got we can tap into the 3,000 or 4,000 employees that we have globally, from shop floor staff all the way through headquarters, and engage them and mobilize them in the events that we do. And we do that a bunch of different ways, including environmental internships. Anybody that's worked for Patagonia for a year can do an environmental internship. They organize it, we pay for it, we pay their salary while they're on that internship. We host a lot of events. We hosted something a couple of weeks ago in Bosnia where we brought together grantees from 21 countries across Europe. And we did 3 days of capacity and community building on the bank of the Una River in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And we brought 25 of our employees from here in Europe, and we just had them interacting with, supporting actively the event, but also engaging in all of the learning shoulder to shoulder with our grantees and with the activists across Europe. And so I think it's really deeply embedded and in many ways led by the employees, not just sort of balkanized in a corner of the business.
One of the things that we've mentioned, that the good luck of being the panelist, that you get the chance to have one-on-one chats with these remarkable people. So there's like a backlog of conversations, and thank you for that. I want to know more about how you deal with some of the challenges, right? So for example, in your case, Giulia, Italy is not very entrepreneurial, right? So you are going against it is not as entrepreneurial, and that's one of the challenges that you're facing. So how the three of you sustain the momentum on the face of those challenges, right? So going against markets, going against how things are used to done at an industry level, for example. Oh no, that's not the way that we've used to do it, so we want to do it differently. So how do you face those challenges as leader of your organizations?
Okay, in Italy, for example, we have data that say that among young people, entrepreneurship is very low. And so there is a strategy at the European level that say that every person in between age from 18 to 25 has to do one entrepreneurship experience in its life. And so what we want to do is to help students to become entrepreneur, because they want to teach students how they can make the difference in their life and also for the community. So with our project, what we want to do is to help them to discover their talents. And so this is very challenging, but we face this challenge with the learning by doing. So we brainstorm the ideas, we connect with companies, with B Corps that can bring inspiration to them, and then we help them and we guide them to create real projects. So with learning by doing, they can understand which are their talents, and then with the passion, they can face even some important challenges such as the market validation and this kind of stuff that are very difficult. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On our side, the main challenge we are facing is we don't know why, but there's one big thing is that probably the food industry has broken the link with nature in food, and that's a fundamental issue. And you have been taught to eat a lot of product with a lot of additives for many years. So we see that more as an opportunity, because the opportunity is then for us to connect people with nature, which is simply the purpose of Wessanen today, in their food choice. So what if we go against that challenge of the industry by forbidding chemicals in food? What if we go up the food chain, is making sure that we understand vaguely where the raw material are coming from, the organic, and by the way, how much has been paid the farmer for that? That's why we are in the fair trade. What if we refuse the dictates of the meat and the milk industry by having more vegetarian products? So the challenge is very big, because in Europe, for instance, and in the world, in the US as well, the industry is very powerful, but then there is opportunities for us simply listening to people and having a contribution in helping them to connect with nature in food.
Mm-hmm. Right, I'm sure you have something to say about that as well.
Yeah, I think the Chenards have always viewed the role of Patagonia as kind of being an experiment to prove that business can be done differently. And again, you know, it sounds sort of funny saying that, particularly given the success that we've eventually had after 45 years of being in business, and being in business trying to prove that businesses could play by a different set of rules. And what I think is really inspiring for me personally, and I think it's the vision for where we want to take this, is For about the first 40 years of our history, we have been focused on minimizing our footprint and then giving voice and giving financial support to activists around the world. And as we've looked in the last couple of years at all of the key metrics for the health of the planet, what we've come to understand is that approach is no longer enough. And so we've really challenged ourselves to move from supporting activism to becoming much more of an activist company ourselves. And that's why we've gotten into a very public spat with the Trump administration in the US, and we're suing the Trump administration around their policy on public lands. We've been very vocal and very public about that. And that's angered a lot of our customers, but we're very committed to it because we think the underlying issue is a critical one. It's why we here in Europe are working on a campaign. I'm actually flying directly from here to London to deliver 125,000 petition signatures to the European Bank of Reconstruction and Development this afternoon at their annual board meeting, that are from people around Europe and around the world who are frustrated by the fact that these public financial institutions are financing the destruction of Europe's last wild rivers, which happen to be in the Balkan Peninsula. We're also, fortunately, we did a 40-minute film piece on this project, and we'll be screening that in the EU Parliament next week. And so these are some of the things that we feel like are really critical to trying to reverse what I think everybody in this room is very familiar with, this constant degradation of every key indicator for the health of the planet.
Absolutely. Going back to that role of activism, how do you see as leaders of your organizations that role? You don't want to be a B Corp on the weekends and not a B Corp and non-B Corp during the week. So how do you keep that authenticity, and what do you bring to the B economy? You and companies like Wessanen, InventoLab, Patagonia, what do you bring to the B economy?
You know, I think that I think it's different for different companies, and you know, it's easy for me to stand up here and to come across like everybody needs to care as strongly as we do and be as visible in their participation on the issues that we get involved in. I think we all have different ways to contribute, and I think we're all coming from different starting places, and so I never want to sound insensitive or condescending towards that. I think it's really important that we're all meeting each other where we are. But I think that ultimately the aspiration for this B movement, this B economy, and this B community ought to be, number one, as it grows, let's not let it get diluted. Let's ensure that the original mission, values, and vision for this remains intact. I think that's really critical as bigger companies and more companies get involved. You see Danone Wave in the US, which I think is about a $5 billion entity, becoming now the biggest B Corp in the world. I think that's fantastic, but let's make sure that the standards stay very high. And then I think the other thing is, you know, I think of it a little bit like learning. You don't think to yourself, I've got to get through high school and then university and then I can stop learning. Or the day I retire, I can stop learning. And it's the same thing with sustainability. This is a journey we're on to try to minimize our impact on the planet so that we can live in better balance with nature. And I think that's a commitment and a movement that we need to create, not just a campaign for a period of time.
Yeah, what we can bring as a B Corp is to share our experience, especially on the education side, and share our experience and knowledge with other B Corps that want to start these projects with students especially. So what we can do, the Project B Corp School enroll a lot of B Corps in Italy, and we want this B Corp join and be in contact with the students. So what we want to do is to spread the values of the B Corps, especially among the young generation, and create a strong connection among the B Corp and the school. Because as Ryan said, you can be a B Corp alone. You have to involve the community, you have to involve employees, you have to involve your suppliers, you have to involve your customers, and also you have to involve the local level. So, for example, the institutions that are in your area, you have to speak with young generation about this problem. So what we want to do is to inspire other B Corp to do the same.
Thank you.
I mean, on our side, our contribution within the B Corp community is really perhaps to bring something in the food area, because in the food area, food is a very important symptom of what happened to your health and to the planet. So the role of food within sustainability is absolutely fundamental. And the choice we've made at Wessanen is going to be a long race is on the organic world, okay? You need to know that organic food is no more than around 3 to 4% of the total food in Europe, okay? So 96% of what we eat contain chemicals that can have some damage into your health and into the planet. And that's, so doing more of what we do every day, doing more what the team is trying to do in creating better product, more natural product will be our contribution to B Corp every day in the food area.
How do you deal with the naysayers? Because listening to the three of you, by naysayers, the people that don't believe in what you're doing, that they want to not be involved, that they put some roadblocks. How do you deal with the naysayers when you're trying to get traction and start getting things done?
I think in our case, we just keep doing what we do. Refer back to, well, a couple of the cases I mentioned. With the position that we've taken on public lands in opposition to the current administration in the U.S., as I said, you look on social media and there's a lot of people telling us to just stick to making clothing and stay out of politics. They have a right to an opinion. We disagree, and we're going to continue to charge forward on the things that we think are important. And if it has an impact on the financial bottom line of our business, so be it. We're very committed to doing what we do. Fortunately, it's had kind of the opposite impact in that our business continues to get great growth, but that's a byproduct of just, something that I always believe, life is a whole lot simpler, whether you're a person or a business, and you wake up every morning and you know exactly who it is you're going to be that day, and you don't feel like you've got to reinvent it. And I think that for us, that's who we are, and that's how we try to run the business.
I mean, on our side, even if 95% of food is still non-organic, more and more people understand that what you eat has an impact on your health and the planet, and basically, the less chemicals in food, the better you are. So there is a general awareness that is moving. So we are not against. We explain what we do. By the way, we do decent product, which are tasty from time to time. And that's basically the experience that we encourage people to have. And the general public is with us, because and B Corp is one part of it. Fair trade was a large part of it. So we are, more and more people are becoming aware of that. So we want to surf on that wave.
And Giulia?
Also, as we continue doing what we've done. And for example, at the end of our project, we show the results in public. So it's very effective to see during, for example, a final competition, the final competition of B Corp school, what students can create, what energy they have, and so also to understand their enthusiasm. There was, for example, during the 7th of June, on the 7th of June, we did the final competition of B Corp school, and we involved many B Corps and also not B Corps. And the public was very impressed by the project of the young students. And it was very effective to listen to a person, 16-year-old, that is 16 years old, how can create a project that sell the product and was at the same time sustainable. So young people is very powerful in doing this. And we can leverage their ideas and their energy.
Do you want to add something? No. There are 4 themes that I've been jotting down as you spoke. It sounds that some of the skills or traits that you as leaders share in common include creativity, right? So you all get creative as to how to get from point A to point B, and you find solutions to your problems. Humane in the sense that you want to be engaged with the community, you surround yourselves with people smarter than you, that complement you, that you try to put people in positions of winning, or like, for example, the case you were giving with the environmental internship. Show, don't tell, right? Like that authentic voice. And then finally, the optimism, right? It seems that you see a lot of opportunities instead of seeing lots of problems. what opportunities, what trends do you see out there that make you excited or get you rallied up of opportunities that you are seeing?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. You know, I'm an American. I talked a bit about, I think we're all quite aware of the political situation back in the U.S. at the moment. I think that one of the positive things from this swing in a very conservative direction is you are seeing the CEOs of more and more public companies come out and take public positions on issues that are important to them, to their employees, and to their communities. And that's something that I feel like is a real sea change over the last 24 months, and that's encouraging. And I'd like to see that become more of the new normal. I think the other thing is with social media in particular, I think that customers are a lot more informed today, and they care a lot more, and they have the tools to get more visibility into what's going on kind of behind the curtain with the businesses that they choose to do business with. And I think that's really positive. I think as B corporations, one of the things that I think is really critical is just being transparent in your business with your customers, with your communities, and with your employees about what it is you're trying to accomplish, what you're proud of, what the next steps are, and what are the big complex issues that you're still wrestling with. And I think if you do that consistently, I think you can really bring the community along with you, because I think the younger generation of people are becoming a lot more switched on and they care a lot more about these issues than we often give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of opportunity, especially in the circular economy sector. The 30% of our startup was focusing on a circular economy sector, and they had a great response for customers, and university and professional about their project, especially, for example, on biomaterial creation. We had a project that was, for example, create bioplastic from eggshell, another project that was focusing on biomaterials, so this could be an opportunity. And also, for example, in Italy, we have a supply-demanding gap from the impact investment side and the social impact project. So there is this research of Politecnico di Milano on impact investing. The research is, the observatory is called Tiresia, and they say that there is this gap among the impact investing side and the social impact project. So this could be also an opportunity for who wants to become B Corp and who wants to increase the impact of his project.
What I see as a great opportunity is the growing sense of responsibility in every aspect in society. So, and the people can now be very strong in their commitment to responsibility, still within, let's say, a business system. Let me give you some examples. So, having a responsible consumption, so making the choice for natural product, for instance, or for responsible clothing. You could do that, let's say, 30 years ago if you were out of the system, okay, out of the business system. And now there's a really strong will for everyone to say, no. We need to be responsible company, responsible leaders, responsible society, but we will still be in the system, and the system will change from within, and not out of it. And so that's what I think is that the essence of the bigger movement, and that's why that's what I see as a great opportunity.
You mentioned change from within. You were sharing with me that when you had to make a tough choice and start taking out some of the things from your portfolio of brands, can you share a little bit about those? Not afraid to break things.
No. For those who know Wessanen, it used to be a very large food Dutch company. But like very large, slightly over-diversified, very large, okay? And after decades of failure, let's call that failure, the choice we made with the team is to say, no, we are going to be, size doesn't matter, okay? Because my former chairman said, you need to be big. So, and what is big? Does it create value? What does it do as an impact? Big. So the choice we made was not to do that and say, what if we do only what we like, what has a meaning, and fundamentally where we are good at and we are passionate for. So we basically, when I came as a CEO, I sold half of the turnover on the first year. So we are now a small company and we are happy with that, but we have all the energy, we put all our energy in doing what we like to do and what has a decent impact.
Thank you. And what would you like for the audience here to leave the room with? What questions should they be asking as they leave the session today? What questions should they be asking after the summit? What is the call to action today for the bee economy?
You know, I think, first of all of us have an impact, and all of us sort of vote with our dollars or our euros every day. I would really encourage all of us to be more thoughtful about our consumption patterns and the impacts that we have. I think relative to the B Corp community, I think it's figuring out, you know, if you are a B Corp, challenging yourself to figure out how you can increase your impact and provide more leadership for those in the B Corp community, those aspiring to be in the B Corp community, and within the industries and communities that you're in. I think that thinking boldly and really trying to figure out how the people in this room are the catalyst for a movement that's got some real staying power for doing business a different way. I think hopefully the next couple of... If that was me, I'm sorry. Hopefully these couple of days will provide some inspiration for that.
Okay. The question I'd like the audience will ask is how can I contribute to be an inspiration for my community, for my employees, for my partners? How can I be more sustainable, and how can I be engaged in a project such as our project, that is a project that belongs to all the B Corp, to inspire other and inspire new generation. So how can I be engaged in B Corp school?
Okay.
I mean, on my side, I think the question that I leave the audience with is probably what does responsibility mean for you all, you know, and how can we improve our responsible behavior in anything we do? How can we refuse the trade-off between performance as a company and purpose? The answer is no. So how are we going to manage positively that dilemma?
Absolutely. I took a little bit of the liberty to jot down some of the highlights. We spoke about collaboration, right? It sounds that it is important to not do it alone, and you have to build these bridges. The commitment to our communities. Communities are customers, our employees, our teams, and the places that we operate. And for me, the takeaway from listening to the three of you is the authenticity, right? Like, you cannot be sustainable on Fridays and Saturdays and unsustainable Monday through Friday, and being that authentic is what will get you surrounded from the right people and allow you to connect with your customers and educate your customers and educate entire industries and really change, as Christophe was mentioning, the economy from within the system, not outside from the system. So thank you very much for this fantastic conversation. I really enjoyed it. I hope that you've enjoyed it too. We'll be outside during the breaks and all that, so happy to have one-on-ones and closer communication. And I have a little gift for the three of you from Spain. For the Spanish delegation, they'll be happy. The B Corp Spain, I brought turrón from Spain. So, thank you very much, Christophe.